What's good, yo? Been a little minute. I hope y'all are good. I'm doing great. My name is Bluff. Welcome to the channel. I put up a poll, right, asking about different struggles that producers face, and the winning struggle in the poll was finishing beats that you start. Man, how much more space are you gonna waste on unfinished beats? What is wrong with you? You know, when I first started, I didn't have like good computers for a long time, you know. I had this Toshiba laptop that would just randomly burn out, you know, and overheat and shit like that. So when I started a beat, I had to finish it. There was no save and finish it in, you know, an hour or tomorrow. Finish it now. It has to be finished now. You know. First thing I'll say, your best friend when it comes to this kind of shit is to just listen to music, bro. Just listen to music that you like. See how, and don't just listen, right? Kind of analyze what you're hearing. You know, because I'll be honest, the things that I learned that have made the biggest impact on my production was not from some dickhead like me on YouTube telling you what to do. It was from listening to music and just figuring out what they were doing just by ear, right? So assuming that you understand that like each beat is made up of, you know, looped loops that are looping, right? So you got the intro, which is a loop. You got the verse, which is 16 bars, which is usually 4 loops repeating. And then the hook, which is 2 loops, 2 4-bar loops repeating. Sometimes 4 if you're Young Thug and you want to do some crazy 12, 16-bar verse thing. Assuming you know all that, right? And you put those parameters in place for yourself when you're producing. Like this, look, this video isn't about how do you do a switch up for your sample? How do you do a counter melody? You know what I mean? Like, that's all like stuff you can kind of figure out just from listening to music. You know what I mean? Obviously, you're not going to pick up on how to technically make a counter melody, you know, in a way that's music theoretically sound or whatever, right? I feel like that shit kind of is whatever. And again, like, just kind of listen to music to kind of figure out how you like it. You know what I mean? If you can hear instances where like a break beat is used, in a way that you like, right? In a way that you kind of want to start implementing into your own production. I don't know. The eureka moment doesn't come from the tutorials, right? So all the technical shit out the way, you know how a beat is supposed to be laid out, right? So just there's a saying I heard where it's like limitation kind of brings out the best, you know, creatively, right? Sometimes you can be more creative when there's more like rules on what you're supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? So like, you know, if you know that you're only making 4-bar loops, you know, or 8-bar loops, then I feel like automatically you should get an idea of like what you should stay away from doing. You know what I mean? I feel like as producers over the years, we kind of all figure out these tricks, these different things that kind of are meant to engage listeners, right? And depending on what you're producing, like if you're just producing for artists, you know, you never need to overdo it, because at the end of the day, whatever you're making, excuse me, whatever you're making isn't even like the final product. You know what I mean? Everyone wants these, not everyone, but I feel like some producers just kind of want to be like the main thing in the song, and it's like, you know, you're really just laying a basic foundation for someone to make a song over. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you know, you can look at a beat like Palmolive by Freddie Gibbs, you know what I mean? Or One Beer by MF Doom, both same producer. But the decisions and the choices made in those beats are what make them what they are. You know what I mean? Like Palmolive is basically just like one sample, probably doesn't even have like drums over it. Like the drums in the song are probably from the sample, which is really just like a loop that has like one breakdown, I think, at the beginning, and that's it. Might be in some other places, right? Or, you know, if you look at One Beer by MF Doom, it's got, you know, the intro, it's got the verse part, and then it's got like the breakdown / hook part where it switches up into the crazy ass shit. And that too, like if you look at it, it's really just a loop. You know what I mean? There probably isn't even any added drums to that, you know? And all that is just decisions that were made as far as like arrangement. You know what I mean? And a lot of times you can have a beat that's like the most stripped down, most basic production that you've ever made, but the way that you arranged it, it made it click with an artist, you know. And there could be times where you have something where you made the craziest 4-bar loop, you know what I mean, and it's like it's got this crazy chord progression and this awesome melody and counter melody and all this shit, but it sounds horrible because it's all cluttered. And in that situation, it would probably be good for you to make, I mean, ultimately the way you arrange it is really gonna make or break it, you know what I mean? So you could take this loop that's really one or two elements and have it laid out in a way, have it arranged in a way where it sounds amazing, you know what I mean? And then you can have it arranged in a way where it sounds like shit, you know? Same thing with the original non-sampled melody with the progression, the leads, and all this extra shit. You could arrange it in a way where everything isn't all cluttered. You could take these, you know, these 4 elements, right? Say, hold on, let me try to pull it up in here. You got this, right? So ultimately, like, this is the beat, right? With these 4 tracks, right? So for the first 8 bars, 4 bars, you might mute track 2 and have all the others going, right? And then you might mute track 1 and have all those going. And then you might have a section where it's only 1 and 2 or 1 and 3, you know what I mean? Without the drums, whatever, right? I think ultimately, like, having a basic layout of what we're doing, you know, and then kind of understanding that, number one, you don't need too much, because after you make the beat, there's still someone who's gonna add something to the beat, who's gonna add a vocal to the beat, so they need room, number one. And number two, like, just because something has a lot going on doesn't mean it's in its completed form. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to cut some shit out for something, for it to actually make sense. Ultimately, you got to make decisions. You know what I mean? And decision, I'm pretty sure it comes from like cutting shit out. You know what I mean? Cutting your options out. There's only one option. That's kind of what a decision is, right? And if you can take the loops that you make, and I'm not just talking about melody loops, but I'm talking about like the sections of the beat where it's the drums, bass, and melody. If you can take those and kind of arrange them in ways where it doesn't feel like it's looping, it feels like there's movement, and have it laid out in these parameters where it's like, all right, I'm gonna arrange this beat this way. You know what I mean? It's gonna have the intro, it's gonna have the verse, and it's gonna have the hook, right? Yeah, I think people just have to stop overthinking shit. I have however many videos of me going live, you know what I mean, for weeks, and I don't think I've ever had a beat that I started and didn't finish. There has definitely been beats where I started them and I just trashed them, but very rarely am I like starting something and finishing it later. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'll start something off stream and then purposely finish it on stream. But when I do that, all I'm really doing is arranging, And I think just having, like, I said it before and I'll say it again, like having the parameters in your head of what, the finished beat or the finished song is supposed to be, how it's supposed to be laid out and how it's supposed to be arranged, having that in your head alone will kind of help you, it's like filling in the blanks, you know what I mean? That's really all it is. And sometimes the blanks don't have room for all the shit that you're doing in the beat. And that doesn't mean you got to cut it out. Just put it in a different section. You know what I mean? Because there's a breakdown. Because here's the thing. You can put like one of those crazy driving basses where it's like the droning bass, right? You can have that and an 808 in the same fucking beat. But having them over each other, playing at the same time, is probably going to sound like shit. You know what I mean? So, at that point, it's time to decide where the 808's going to be and where's the secondary bass going to be. You know what I mean? You can hear beats where, like, here's a perfect example, bro. Like, Off the Grid by Kanye, right? The first, it's got both. It's got the drums of a trap beat and the 808s of a trap beat, and then it's got the drums and the 808 of a drill beat, right? So if those drums and those 808s were played at the same time and it wasn't arranged and broken up, that would be one of the worst beats of all time. But since it was laid out and arranged in a way that, made it pretty exciting to listen to, especially the first time, when it switches up a little. And here's the thing, dude, people be trying to switch shit up and have these 2-minute intros and shit. Fuck all that shit. Nobody gives a fuck. That shit sucks, dude. Don't do that shit. And look, do whatever you want. I'm just saying, though, that shit fucking sucks. You don't listen to songs like that are arranged that way. That's what I'll say. Yeah, I'm kind of ranting now, but ultimately, I think what this idea and what this struggle comes down to, finishing beats that you start, is really about, number one, listening to songs that you like, paying attention to how they're arranged, paying attention to where certain elements are introduced, where they're taken out, right? And then number one is hearing that and seeing it, seeing examples. And number two is in the moment being able to make the decision of what direction, you know, all this is headed in. You know what I mean? Because, you know, sometimes you might make a loop, you might make a 4-bar sequence with a sample, with a melody, with bass, with drums. That is enough. You don't need anything else. You know what I mean? Sometimes you'll make something where it's too much, you know? But both of those examples can work based on how you arrange it. If you're struggling with actually finishing something, just in your head have that checklist where the intro, I did it. The verse part, I did it. The hook part, I did it. So now I just have to arrange it and it's done. You know what I mean? As far as switch ups, you know, we can probably talk about that in another video, but overall, that's kind of what I think the actual root of the problem is that you have to make a decision on what you're actually going to do and conceal your power level, bro. You don't have to do every trick that, you know, you thought up over the years as a producer that you think is cool. You know what I mean? You don't have to do that for every fucking beat. Just making a decision and paying attention to what you're actually hearing in music that you like is really the best way to do things, you know. Yeah, I hope that helped, dude. I don't know, it's late as fuck. It's 2:40 in the morning, bro. So I'm about to call it a night. Yeah, stay tuned to the channel for more content, more beat making videos, and yeah, maybe more shit like this. Leave some comments, man. Like and sub. Peace.